Hey everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. So today we're going over all the normal Tanki Online information that we learned from the Hazel interview. Now this isn't going over the Tanki Classic information, that is in the video that I posted a few days ago. I'll leave the link to that video in the description if you want to see all the Tanki Classic information we learned. But today we're going over all the information about normal Tanki Online. Now huge shout out to the Detective once again for making an overview of all the information we learned. It's really helpful when trying to go through a 1.5–2 hour segment of an interview, so huge shout out to him there. So also keep in mind that all the information that I say here is subject to change, at least in terms of the release date. So if something was promised the next year, there's always a chance it can get delayed to the year after next. So keep everything I say with a grain of salt and just kind of expect that some things might change. The first thing Hazel mentioned is that Tanki Online is definitely still profitable and they are still doing well in terms of income, which is good to hear. Obviously, the number one reason Tanki would ever shut down is if they're no longer profitable. First, they'd obviously start with layoffs, meaning we'll get less updates, and then over time in general, it would probably end up with the game shutting down, which would suck. So it's good to hear that Tanki Online is still profitable. Tanki Online also has a new Unity team that is responsible for releasing Tanki Online on console this year. We're getting console hopefully this year. I would imagine probably next year, but this is huge because the console player base is massive. I'd say in terms of at least Western countries, the console player base for most games is probably 40% of the player base of games nowadays. So releasing Tanki to console is something I've been asking Tanki to do for years. So it's awesome that we'll finally get this soon. Hazel did mention that it's taking them a while because every time they submit the game to be released on consoles, it'll come back with something they need to change or something they need to fix. So it's been back and forth with the console regulations to get this game released on console. But supposedly they're really close and we should get it released in the upcoming months. HD maps are also taking so long to release because first maps are being created in Unity and then they're transferred to the HTML5 engine, which is a lot of work. Once you make the map, you then have to transfer the entire map over to HTML5. I don't understand coding and all that stuff too much, but I can understand why it would take so long to transfer the map over to a completely different engine. And that's one of the big reasons HD maps are being delayed and take so long to come to the actual game. Some happy news though with HD maps is that we're getting a brand new New Year's HD map. Again, I'm not sure if this is just an old New Year's map turned HD or if it's a completely new Christmas New Year's themed map. I'm a huge fan of unique maps for certain events. It's one of the main reasons the Halloween event is my favorite event in Tanki Online, because the Halloween event is so much fun because you only get to play it during Halloween. So this is really good news to hear. Unfortunately, there's not going to be a night version of this map because Tanki was unable to finish the lighting effects for the map this year, but he said we will be getting the night version next year because this will be a map we hopefully get in the future, which I'm super excited for. The other HD maps we're getting are Highland, Crossroads, and then one new HD map after that. So hopefully in the near future, we'll be getting those maps as well, but I'm excited that we're getting a New Year's HD map like in the next week or so. Tanki is going to make a Striker and Magnum HD skin, and then after that, they will make a hovering hole for Juggernaut. This is one of the main reasons we've been getting only one skin per event, is because Tanki's team is half focused on new skins and then half focused on finishing the HD turrets and holes, which kind of sucks because Tanki has to allocate some people in the design team to actually finishing the HD holes and turrets. But hopefully once those are all done, we'll finally go back to getting actual new skin combos rather than one new skin per event, which isn't nearly as much fun as getting a full combo of skins every event. So hopefully when the HD skins are done, we'll start getting more skins in the future. The hovering hole for Juggernaut, this was teased, I think like a year or two ago, so we're finally going to be getting that. Tanki is also focusing on making the PC experience solid. Hazel considers it the core of the game, and he will not compromise it for other platforms such as console or mobile. Like when mobile came out, Tanki definitely compromised the main PC game for mobile players. Tanki thought mobile was the next frontier. They were going to be a complete mobile game, but then of course that ended up failing, which is why you can see Ares, the first hovering hole, was 100% made for mobile players. It's slow, so mobile players will have more ease using it. It's a ton of health, so mobile players aren't going to be getting killed fast, and it's just easy for mobile players to control, which is why Hazel said the entire reason for hovering holes was for the mobile player base, meaning he compromised the PC player base a little bit to help with the mobile player base. But now Tanki is fully focused on the PC player base, not the mobile player base. Mobile is no longer a priority for Tanki. They tried to invest in Tanki Mobile to make it good. It seems to have been a failure, so now they're focusing on other platforms such as, console. If you are a mobile player, don't expect the Tanki mobile experience to get much better. I'm hoping we'll still get a little bit more balancing for the mobile player base, but I think it's definitely time for Tanki to move to console and PC rather than trying to appease the mobile player base, because at the end of the day, the mobile player base is not that big. Let's focus on something that's going to make the game grow and actually get better, and I don't think focusing on the mobile player base is going to help with this. Hazel said he's considering making 2 different modes of parkour and pro battles. This is helping for the hacking problem. There's a mode where you can have moderation, and then there's a mode where you don't. So the normal parkour mode, where you're going to be doing like parkour montages, won't have moderation, and then there will be a new hyper mode that will have moderation. You can report players to get a player kicked or banned, and this is going to be their new anti-cheat until the full anti-cheat is released into the game. If you go to the test server right now, the hyper mode is already in the test server. You can already report players mid-game to get a moderator in the game. So this is huge. This is going to be really, really helpful for removing hackers in pro battles, especially for those parkour fighters. Contracts are still a long way off. Hazel said they would maybe be released next year, which means they're probably going to be released in 2026. Again, it's been like 2 years since contracts were first announced into the game. Unfortunately though, since Tanki is focusing on the console version and the HD skins, this has kind of been put on the back burner for now, and will hopefully, once the console version and HD skins are fully released into the game, everything that's been kind of put on the back burner, like skins and new changes, will be, finally put into prime view again. Gifts, achievements, customizable garages, and customizable loading screens all rely on a new page and UI. So if you want to get achievements in game, customizable garage, and loading screens in game, the garage UI needs to be updated. And unfortunately, since Tanki has this on the back list of their priorities, it's not going to be coming soon. But again, once we get all these new changes, such as console and HD skins, put into the game, hopefully the priorities will change a little bit towards updating some other stuff as well. Hazel's aiming for new content to be a 50-50 split of augments and cosmetics, like skins and shot effects. He leaked that the next shot effect coming is for Firebirds. That's pretty cool to hear. But yeah, right now I'd say it's probably a 75-25 split of new augments to new skins and shot effects. So it's nice to hear that augment creation will go down a little bit, but that is their main source of money, so I don't expect it to go down that much. Hazel also mentioned the new creation of loadouts, meaning you have a loadout for a certain combo in your garage so that you can switch multiple times in game rather than only be able to switch once. I like this idea because let's think of, there's so much customizable stuff nowadays. You have augments for your hull, augments for your turret, new grenades, new drones. It'd be super helpful to make like 3 to 4 loadouts and just be able to switch between those in games rather than having to go to garage and spending 30 seconds to a minute switching everything, when you can do it in literally 5 seconds with a simple click. So I'm super open to loadouts. I think that's a really good idea. Unfortunately, Hazel mentioned it more as an idea that they're hoping will happen the next year or so, but again, it's not a priority, so it won't be created anytime soon. Hazel's very happy with Tanki's progress in the early game, thanks greatly to the use of bots. According to him, bots have saved the early game. He mentioned that Tanki may be ready to start advertising, so this is at least a big benefit of bots. The early game players are actually having fun and staying longer because they're not getting destroyed by real players, and then steadily as they progress through the ranks, they'll start going against more real players, but at that point they'll hopefully be ready for the real players. When asked about the recent failure of Tanki funds, Hazel said that he doesn't know how to fix them, and that in the company's perspective, they're still making a decent amount of money with these Tanki funds, so they have no plan to fix them, which kind of sucks, but Tanki funds have kind of been boring for a while now, so I don't really care about this as much as I might have a year ago. Hazel also mentioned a new idea about a ranked or skill-based version of the game. Obviously, he doesn't want to add this to the real game, but he's open to adding a new mode with a more clan-based MMR ranked experience, where what clan you're in will be related to the skill-based matchmaking that you go in for a certain mode, which I'm open to. Again, it's not a priority, so we probably won't get this anytime soon. Hazel expects this year to be a turnaround year for the game and that the player base will grow. I'm excited for this. I think once we get the console version and then finally the HD version's done, Tanki can now focus on massively putting out new content. And then, of course, the console version, if it's a success, we're going to get a lot of new players from that player base. One of the last big things was Hazel mentioned a pretty big update related to supplies and the Oracle drone. I don't know if this means supplies are going to be working a lot like Crisis and the Oracle drone now, where you can only use one at a time. I'm not sure what he meant there, but he did say it's related to supplies and the Oracle drone. So maybe we'll see in a future vlog or future update. But yeah, that's everything we learned. There's a little bit more that I could go over probably in a stream or future video if you guys want to. But yeah, that was the interview. We had a ton of fun with Hazel. Thank you again to Hazel if you're watching this. But don't forget to use code Taspens. I'll see you guys in a future video. Peace out, everybody.